Hello everybody, and welcome to this 3D scanning and reverse engineering tutorial in which I'm going to show you how you can make a scan of an object like this cup and use Polycam for that. After processing, prepare the model to send it to Shapr3D so we can load it, position, scale it, to then use the scan of this cup to design or model a form-fitting handle that can then be 3D printed and cast. So in this tutorial, I'll run you through the whole process of from start, setting up your scene, preparing your subject, and then showing you what actually 3D photogrammetry is. I show you the whole method of photographing everything and then bringing the images into Polycam, which runs on iOS, Android, and also can be accessed on the web. Now, when the model then is done, I show you then how we can prepare it inside Polycam, trim it and rotate it, and then through the download function, send it over to Shapr3D, load it, reposition the scan, and then make this model, which you see here. And this one, for example, can now be sent to the 3D print. Okay, with all that, let's do it. Okay, so how does photogrammetry actually work? The process is very simple. This is a basic setup. I have here a small step ladder, so I can put my cup on it and then comfortably walk around and photograph it. And this cup has a lot of smooth yellow areas, and to help the software to convert that into a 3D model, I used cornstarch and sprinkled it very slowly over it. Cornstarch is pretty cheap. You could use also powdered sugar. A better solution would, for example, be to use dry shampoo and spray this over it. Photogrammetry does not like transparent, glossy, and surfaces that have like no textures, kind of like the white, the yellow parts of this cup, but also the white that is inside. You will see later in the scans that the outside of the cup is nicely digitized, but not in the inside. For the white, now, for example, you could use very fine cinnamon and very gently dust it over it. That's then enough. So how does actually now the next step happen? We have our subject placed on the step ladder. It is sprinkled. You will have a raised copper vessel with the cornstarch or the dry shampoo. We then actually mat the surface, so the glossiness of the polished surface is not going to be an issue. And then the next step would be to very slowly walk around and take photos. The way how photogrammetry works, it looks, for example, at this image, and then at this, so that was before, and the next, and then it says, there is something changing between these images. And that is called feature detection. So the software is trying to figure out where are things that start to rotate, because from that, then the software can create a 3D model. When you go into the cinema and you watch a movie with these 3D glasses, it's exactly the same idea. Your left eye sees this, your right eye sees that, and then in your brain you see a three-dimensional illusion. I have here actually one video that shows the whole scanning process. Every time when the video actually flashes, I did one photo. So you need a lot of photos, 200, 300 easily. The more photos you have, the better. You can start with a minimum amount of 20, but the more photos you have, the more information you give the engine to analyze. And now you saw I moved the camera to the top. Again, simply walk around and photograph it. And when I'm done, then you see roughly here, I go now to a much lower position and photograph it. And that's actually very good when you have an object, when you photograph it from different angles, because you increase the chances that you also photographed everything what you want to convert into your 3D model. Because what is not photographed cannot be converted into your 3D model. In this exercise, for example, you will see that the top of the step ladder is perfectly turned into a 3D model, but the lower side of the wooden top part is not. Well, because I didn't photograph it. Here's actually one problem in this photo set. And the cup, as you can see, occupies only 1/3 of this image. The left side and the right side is empty. And the more pixels of a photo is occupied by the subject, the more data the software has to convert that into three-dimensional polygons, a mesh. So this is a vertical design or cup or object. Ideally, a better way is to photograph it than in portrait mode, like this. Now you can see I can capture a lot more of this object. I can get also closer. I see the details that tick more. I still have a little bit of waste, but this can work actually pretty good. I think I'm also shooting in with the wide lens. You can do these things, for example, also with the tele lens. Then you can step a little further away and more comfortably walk around. Because if I get too close with the wide lens, I might bump, for example, into the ladder. So, very good. Okay, so after we made all these photos, now how do we then turn that into a 3D model? I have here a screenshot of the Polycam software on the iPhone. When you create your account, you can click then onto the camera icon, lower right corner. That then actually brings you into the photography mode. There are few elements you want to make sure. You have here, for example, the ability to switch between 0.5 and so ultra wide and wide lens. You want to work with wide lens. For small objects, you can actually also try out the macro lens maybe. You want to go to manual, don't use automatic, and you're in photo mode. And then you just click on this button. That is basically making a photo. When you have enough photos in Polycam after 20 photos, you see you have a max of 2000, then you will see the done button. You can click then the done button when you have enough photos. So after 20 is the first time you can, but in your case, you to digitize this cup easily 80, 100, 200 photos. And then you basically will see this interface. You can see then all the photos. Again, this is just a test, 20 times the photo of the ground. Then you can click on RAW. RAW means a really high detailed mesh. Optimized, this is more something that goes onto the web. You can, if you want, click this use object masking. It can help to separate your object from the ground. And then you click upload and wait. you see here that I have this cup also on the ladder. What could be helpful if you use a small wooden cube or something and put that onto the ladder or the surface, and then on top you put your vessel. This way you create a small separation of the ground. And I also have here a wooden ladder. You can, for example, put a nice big white sheet under it. Then you have no texture, and that can actually even help separating your subject from the background even more. To do this also from a Mac or PC, what you can do is you can, as I did, I photographed all my photos. These are HEIC. Then I converted on the Mac them to JPEG, and these then actually I can upload. Let me go to Polycam. This is now the web interface. The nice thing is Polycam runs on um, iPhone and Android and runs inside a browser. So the same process is here again. Now you create your new scan. I would like to make a new model based on photogrammetry. Choose the photos, and here these are kind of like these 20 photos I have. Click open, click raw, isolate object from environment. You can give this a name, and then you just click upload, and then it will be processed. Very good. Pretty easy. Okay, so how does the scan then actually look like? Here I have here the scan of the vertical and the scan with the horizontal model. I will go to this one. And the tools also on the interface on iOS or Android are the same. Now you can click around and take a look at this. Now you can see there's the scan. The cup inside is white. There was no texture, so it didn't really convert that into a 3D model. And there you see now under the ladder that's not photographed, that didn't turn into geometry, but everything on top of the ladder I photographed, that's turned into geometry. We have here tool button. We can click it, and then it turns this into a wireframe preview and then just a flat shaded preview. Yeah, and zoom in and take a look at this. And there you can see this grizzle texture. That's actually the cornstarch. So if we smooth this out a little bit more, you will get an even finer scan. I zoom in here, tip a tick, and there you can see the wood grain and everything. Perfect. Okay. So what we are going to do now is we maybe go to rotate. This thing is slightly wrong. So zip, let's rotate it. That makes it easier to work with. There we are. Thank you, apply. And then we can also go to crop, and we start to kind of like cut this out. Because this is a cylindrical object, there, when you click on it, then you can move this around. With the cylindrical object, that actually works really good. Perfect. There we are. Cool. We do kind of like the crop in, apply, and there it is then actually removed. Beautiful. And then we go to download. So here we have various formats. If you would like, for example, to put this onto your website, you can use the GLTF. OBJ, this is great for a mesh modeler, for example, like Blender, where you can then continue adding actually to it. I use CAD programs and Blender to do my work. The CAD program we are going to look into is Shapr3D. And for Shapr, you can use STL. That's then the mesh model it can work with. And then you simply click on Export. And 8.3 megabyte. Yep, that is good. We can actually work with that. So everything inside Polycam is basically done. Now it's time to go to Shapr and then load the mesh, position it, and then we can model actually our handle over it. To get Shapr, you can go to the Mac App Store or the Windows App Store, or on an iPad to the iOS App Store, download it. And then the nice thing about Shapr is you get it for free for 1 year, and you can renew it as long as you're a student or faculty. And to get then the license, you can go to this website and then follow this process that is outlined here. Shapr is a new and very easy to use, but also very powerful solid modeler, which became my main design and teaching tool. So once this is done, let's go to Shapr. There we are. We can go to new project or file menu, new project, and then file and import into current. I go to downloads, there it is, and import it. There we are. I'm not so sure about the scale. I can select meters. This doesn't really matter much because we have to reposition and rescale the object anyway. There we are. Very good. Perfect. Nice. So what am I going to do now next? I know actually the bottom is 2.5 and the inside is 3.5 inches. So in this right view, I make myself quickly a drawing. So from this origin, I go to the right, I go up, I go over, I go over, I go down, and I go back to the endpoint, press escape. Then I select these horizontal lines, say they're horizontal. And then I say these two are equal. These two are equal. And then I can say, so the distance between these 2 points is 3.5 inches. And the distance here, that is 2.5 inches. Oh, nope, you should be there. Oh, they're not equal. That's why. Very good. And then this I can bring down. Very good. Let's, I make this a tick higher for the moment, and we can exit the sketch. We can select our cup, and for example, we can move it, and then we can rotate it. When you turn this grid snapping off, then we can rotate it very smoothly. So I'm working on the top part. So that is actually the thing that is really important. So I'm going to use the green line here as a tool to rotate it. By the way, middle mouse button is to pan around, and right mouse button is to rotate, and then the mouse wheel is to zoom in and out. And there, this looks nearly perfect. So the more precisely we do this, the better we do the matching later. And also here, yeah, this seems to be good. Okay. Then this cup, now I can move and put to here, and then we see, well, that's a, a little bit too big. I try to center it somewhat. Then I go to scale, uniform. This scan point I put onto my sketch I have there, where these 2 points meet, and then I start scaling it down. And I think this is actually pretty close. Then I go to move, bring this one to there so I can zoom in and out, and then position this. So this actually, I think, has to come down. Does this start to line up? Yeah, I'm getting really close. This sketch, I can actually select, exit the sketch, click on copy, and then I make a copy 90 degrees. Can type in 90 and enter. Then I can go to side view and, oh, yeah, that has to move over. There we are. Oh, now we can see now. I mean, this is a scan of a paper cup. This is deformed. So keep that in mind. This is not a machine piece. But this actually now should be pretty close. What's on actually the next step? Now we can think about how to build the piece that actually goes around it. So these two sketches I can hide, or I can put them into a folder and hide that folder. I can turn these two on. Now there you see how you sort things, right click, rename, align, scan. Easy peasy. The nice thing about having this model now to scale is essentially I can 3D design a handle that will perfectly fit. So how does this process actually work? Let's say I go to Sketch. There we are. And now I take a look at my model. I can turn grid on or leave this one off. Maybe in your case now, leave this off. And I draw here a line. Let's say 1.25 of an inch. And then I position it to there. I press escape and escape. Can click this point and you see how I can move it around. So if this position, let's say up there is good, then I can lock it. And then I can only rotate. Yeah, let's say this is good. I'll lock it. Now this cannot move anymore. Beautiful. I can go to the line command, go to here, and I'm just drawing a crazy rectangle to show you how easy it is to draft. Press escape, escape, so you stop the line drawing tool. These two lines, select with shift, they should be parallel. These two lines should be parallel. There you see how it's a beautiful trapezoid. But actually, hey, this angle, that should be 90 degrees or perpendicular. So now we can see I have a rectangle that is perfect. And I can say, how big is this? 0.1 of an inch, 0.2. You can also switch dimensions to millimeters. I'm from Germany, so this is what I actually primarily work with. And you also have fractions if you want to do that math. I don't. I like the decimals. Not decimals. Decimal. Very good. Very nice. Okay. Then we can select the sketch profile. That's the filling. Shift click the Z-axis and then click on revolve. Now we have actually a ring, as you can see. No? Or what we can do is, you see here this arrow. We go to the history, go to revolution. Oh, and we can say, well, make this 60 degrees. There we are. Or 30 degrees. It goes one direction, because then what we can do is, here's my object, there's the mirror command, mirrored across this interface, click done. Then I shift select both parts and say union and done. Now we have actually one piece. The sketch now a height. I go to the front view. Let's very quickly create kind of like a swept body. So I will make a sketch, a new one. And you see I have here intersection points. So with the line command, I can draw their intersection points. With this, I perfectly now can draw from here a handle that goes down. And it's up to you how you want to design it. I will click on Control. This is a spline tool. Somewhere here, so not on this point, but somewhere there, I click, I go horizontally over, go horizontally over, and then I can actually, the more points I have, I can start sculpting it. And I press Escape, then I'm done, and Escape. And then these points, now I can move around. Very good. You see the closer points get together, the tighter the curve. The further they're apart, the smoother they are. Very good. There we are. Okay, cool. Now, what can we do with this? So this is actually a path. Along this path, now we can extrude a profile. Well, we don't have a profile yet. So let's click Exit Sketch. This sketch is actually selected, and then we can go to Add Plane. If you don't see Add Plane, click somewhere else to select nothing. Add Construction Plane, type on point curve. Yep. Click this one, and there we are. And then this plane we can move around wherever we want. To make it maybe easier to see, I put this at the end. Done. Think about this as a sheet of paper onto which I can now make a new sketch. And beautifully, you see there is an intersection point. We go back here to the spline control command. From here to there, to there, to there. This is the axis, back, there, there, and back. Now, how do we make this even? It's very easy. We take a line. From the midpoint here, I can draw a line in, press Escape. I move this on purpose because this has to be horizontal vertical. And then I can select pairs. So these 2 points, symmetry to that line. So it's always a little bit of prep work at the beginning, but the beautiful thing is then it is super easy to, how should I say this? It's super easy to adjust. With this last step, I made this one perfectly centered. And there you can see now how I can sculpt actually the profile of the handle. How thick is this? So 0.7. Let's do this. No, it's okay. I don't want to go too much. But what we should do is this line we select and click Make Construction. There we are. Very good. Then we can go Exit Sketch. We can select this sketch profile, select this path, and say Sweep. There. It is. And the cool thing is now if I go to Sketch 4, this is with this path, and I start moving things around, you noticed, wow, this is just so intuitive. Don't know why this one moved. Oh, I know why this construction plane actually did not follow with it. Let's go back to here. I simply reposition it and then go to sketch. Oh, I see. Yeah. Very easy. So these points, I need to move back to there. All good. Good, because the center point was moved. Okay, so now, and while we are in this mode, let's go back here to this. And now we can scale this and play with this even a little bit more. Right? The handle was maybe too, it looks kind of like too thin. So we can drastically make this bigger. And with that, see automatically how this looks. Yeah, this is pretty good. I put the sketch here back onto the construction plane I put back onto there. Sure. What else can we do? This one we can bring into this body. Let's say like this, and then we click on hide import. I can select, double click this body, and say union, and done. Then these two surfaces I select, press delete, they're gone. If I would like to have a nice smooth transition, there's the fillet tool. And then we can select, for example, these edges with shift and left mouse button, pull the arrow to round it. We can click this to round it. There we are. You go to there and hide. This one we drag in there. This piece now here, I can round to a little bit, for example, as a quick demo. And if we need holes to have in there now, the easiest way is honestly that is then something we can do in the wax model. You print this and then you just drill the holes for the riveting, for example. Now, talking about the rivets, where is actually the revolve command? There it is. So I have 30 degrees. You see I click on this revolution command and then just drag this a little bit more. See how easy it is. Also, this is too high, this is too low. Where is my sketch that does this? There it is. What happens if I select these two and move these further down? There. See how I can fine tune everything. Okay, beautiful. So this, then we can go to File and Export as 3MF or STL, and then you can 3D print it. And that's basically the whole process, how you can use photogrammetry to do a scan. Then you align the scan, and then we use the scan to build this handle all over it. And that's it.